A Florida teenager has been incessantly harassed by local police after they've decided to start using this predictive policing method in order to essentially accuse people of committing crimes before they've even committed them. It's insane, and it's insane that it's being used already without any real national backlash. So this all started after an aerospace process auditor by the name of Robert Jones moved him and his family to Florida, and he thought this is a great neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood. We're going to be happy here. But almost immediately, his child started getting harassed by the cops. So this is in Pasco County, Florida specifically. Officers said that they had heard about Robert Jones's then 16-year-old son Bobby's school delinquency from colleagues in Pinellas County, where the family previously lived, and wanted to make sure he understood that the Pasco Sheriff's Office did things a little differently, Jones recalled. So what does that mean, to do things differently? Well, they collect data on people and then try to predict whether or not the individuals they're collecting data on are gonna commit crimes. So Bobby had been expelled from his last school for smoking weed and also getting into a fight with another student. So that was the point where his family decided, okay, we need to move, we need a fresh start. Now, the officers had that information and they asked to talk to Jones's kid, and within seconds, they were running rampant through the house. They started like looking through the house to try to see if there was any evidence of any other crimes taking place. Now, they scoured the house and found empty zip closed bags in his son's room that later tested positive for traces of marijuana. Bobby was arrested and spent 3 weeks in juvenile detention before his trial, where the judge dismissed the charges due to the lack of measurable marijuana. He had been at his new school for just over a week when this happened. Now, soon after Bobby's arrest, Jones discovered that his son had been targeted by the sheriff's department with this intelligence-led policing program. Cops had used records of Bobby's previous interactions with law enforcement to predict that he would be a problem in the county. After Bobby was released, a months-long ordeal followed, which Jones described as a horror story of police showing up at the family's home, sometimes multiple times a day or in the middle of the night, to inquire about Bobby or ask to enter the home. Anytime there was a crime in the neighborhood, such as a burglary, for instance, Bobby was a suspect.
Yeah. Okay, so this is one of the most outrageous things, and now is spreading like a cancer throughout the country. But this case is amazing. So I want to read you one thing here. They say, no, this is not pre-crime, okay? This is intelligence-led policing. First of all, that sounds like pre-crime. They say, no, this is for, quote, at-risk youth who are destined to a life of crime. But that's pre-crime. You're saying they're not destined to a life of crime. And what was Bobby's original problem in the previous county that they found out about through their intelligence, right? By the way, Bobby's not a terrorist. You don't have to do intelligence on him. He's 16 years old at the time, right? He smoked weed apparently.
And he got into a fight with another student.
Okay, hold on. Weed? How many millions of kids have smoked weed in this country? Weed. That's what puts you on a list of pre-criminals. Okay, and got into a fight. I would have been the biggest pre-criminal when I was a kid. I got into so many fights, and so they would have busted down our door. Now, let's look at who's lying, who's telling the truth, right? So in the old days, mainstream media told you the police are always telling the truth. Whoever they've targeted is always lying, right? Now we know the counter rule is probably much more likely to be true. So in this case, the dad says, they come and tell me, oh, look, you guys just moved in, we're here to help. And so we know that Bobby had some issues in the last town. And by the way, it turns out this family had moved because they wanted a fresh start. So the dad thinks, oh, this is good, okay? And they're gonna do a scared straight talk to Bobby and the kids, right? So he lets them in the house. And then they start ransacking his house. He's like, wait, what are you guys doing? Why are you destroying the house? They're like, no, you just gave us permission. He's like, I didn't give you permission to rifle through the house. I didn't give you permission to come and arrest my son. You completely lied and said that you were gonna give him a talk about, hey, this is a great place and you shouldn't do X, Y, or Z. So shocking, it turns out the cops are liars. Of course, right? And so then the cops say at one point, no, we're not doing this to too many people. In this one county, 20,000 kids were put in the at-risk category.
Yeah. And you want to know how invasive their data collection process is? So they look into everything from like school records. For instance, school records were used to allocate students one of 4 labels: on track, at risk, off track, or critical. All right, getting a D grade or having a parent or sibling go to prison could be enough to put a child in the at-risk category, according to Pasco's own 83-page intelligence-led policing manual.
No, guys, just think about that for a second. Did you ever get bad grades in school? They're gonna put you on a list for getting bad grades. But like the police came to this house, they said multiple times throughout the day, almost every day. They would come in the middle of the night and then they'd barge into the house. This is insanity, right? Bad grades. And then the crimes of the brother will be passed on to you. We got your brother's on the list, your sister's on the list. Now you're all on the list. And then when the cops are pressed on this, they say, well, we got 20,000 that are at risk, but you heard the different categories. Just several hundred are in the place where we need to do intervention. Okay, and then when you ask them what's the intervention, they say, oh, we're trying to put them on a positive path. Yeah. Does any of this sound positive to you?
Yeah, their version of a positive path is literally going into their home and like ransacking it, looking for a crime that wasn't even committed. Like, it's insane. No, but this is actually far worse than what we've experienced in our already terrible justice system. This isn't justice. This is the kind of stuff that you would expect in some sort of authoritarian government, dictatorial regime. And it just happened, and it's not even like a top news story.
Yeah, no, guys, it's begun. So like those science fiction movies where they look for proclivities in your DNA and your background, etc. It's literally begun. This is an NBC News report on it, and this is the Florida example is one, but again, it's a police manual that's being spread all across the country. They're putting kids onto all of these lists of people who might be at risk or critical of committing crime later. They're literally busting into their houses. I think they went to this house 18 times or something along those lines.
Dozens of times, yes.
Yes, and so. No, you have to fight back. And by the way, this is something that should unite us. The right wing, you should hate this. This is big government. Jackbooted thugs of the government coming in, breaking into your house when you didn't do anything wrong. And your kids, and they're going after your family, right? And the left wing, obviously you should hate this. Any reasonable person should hate this. This is literally a police state, and it has begun in America. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.